I'm going to say what many people are thinking. They trusted this man with their son's life. This wasn't a traffic ticket. This wasn't a misdemeanor. This was a murder case where a young man's entire future was on the line. Again, how do you defend a situation where you got pushed and you stabbed in response? If this guy allowed an all-white jury, yeah, okay. How much y'all pay this man? The man's wearing a pink suit, for God's sakes.
They did that.
He looks like he can't be trusted. Y'all thought that they was going after the black lawyer who represented Rick Chow down in South Carolina. This guy and that guy going to have to run away together and elope down in some place where they can't find you. And you wonder why Kyle Rittenhouse beat that charge, because he had a bitch damn near looked like Blind Fury on the You know what? I actually agree with that.
Grace and peace, everybody. We're back. You saw the thumbnail. You saw the title. Let's get at it. The After Prison Podcast. We recently did a video looking at what he said about the Carmelo Anthony case right after Carmelo had been indicted. So that was almost 12 months ago. Well, now he's come back and he's actually addressing what has happened now that Carmelo has been found guilty and he's been sentenced. So I want to bring him in. I think his insight is very, very interesting because he is a former patron of the Great Bar Hotel. So he has a lot of insight that most of us have no clue what goes on. So let's bring him in. Yo, what's going on with you, big brother? Let's go. Let's go. What you got to say? Let's go.
I tried to tell you last year, buddy, we're going to get life. I tried to tell you. But I'm not here to go back and forth over who's right and wrong in terms of the verdict. There's a lot of things that I want to offer my opinion on. And it goes like this. It's going to be hard to say this and it be like believed because it seems so far beyond just a surface level situation at this point. If you say anything adversely in relation to Carmelo Anthony, it could be seen as some sort of a racial agenda. And I try to say so much how that is never a part of my thing. But the facts are the facts. It don't matter what led up to Carmelo Anthony stabbing Austin Metcalf in the chest with a knife. Wasn't last year it being referred to as a cleat sharpener? Where did that go? Was it a cleat sharpener or was it a knife? Because I'm still confused on that point. But it does not matter what led up to it. And I've been seeing so many videos where people are like, yo, when are people going to learn? When are the whiteys going to learn? You can't put your hands on nobody. And I'm just like, man, you know.
That's lame.
I hate to see that. I hate to see the racial antidotes that have become this situation. And it's not just this situation. This is just the latest situation. There's every situation that's led up to this. Rick Chow, frickin' Travion Martin. Like there's a million situations that could be thrown into the mix that are certainly, racially inspired or racially thought to be, but stand your ground, right? They said,
so I'm always wondering, like, what's more important, the fact that somebody is deleted or the fact that somebody's deleted because of their skin color? Does that matter? I really don't understand, because if it's the first, then we would be equally as outraged if any black kid is killed, any white kid is killed. But if we're making it only about race and our outrage is selective only based upon the melanin content of the person who's been killed or the melanin content of the perpetrator, to me, that's weak. And that's why we're in the position that we're in now. But let's go.
You know, when are people going to learn? You can't just go putting your hands on nobody. Touche. I hear what you're saying, but it goes like this. If Texas even is, which it probably is, a stand your ground state and a self-defense situation, a self-defense is allowed, which I believe that it is. The underlying point that keeps getting missed on everybody is you cannot react to a push with a stab through the heart.
That I agree.
You've got to meet
1000%.
force with equal force type shit. And if you're not being approached with deadly force, dog, you can't use deadly force. That's just as simple as it is. White, black, it don't matter. Carmelo Anthony was bullied by Austin Metcalf. We've heard that story. Austin Metcalf threatened Carmelo Anthony. We've heard that story. I don't even know what to believe anymore. And it doesn't matter. Because you know what this case proved to me more than anything, more than how racist the world will always be. And we're only like this far away from like a complete freaking race war. Forget World War III. Shit's about to hit a whole different level of Armageddon. But this case proved to me one thing more than anything. And that is
that we're
the
sinners.
Greatest defense that a person could try to use, especially when you've got like a momentous momentum behind you.
Good job.
When you've got the whole world behind you, or at least, a lot of people behind you, like Carmelo Anthony seemed to have leading up to this, all it takes is people to start saying things. You can say things and they become a truth that you run with. And the latest thing that I'm hearing now that he's been found guilty and sentenced to 35 years, is that Austin Metcalf's daddy and the judge are best friends. I don't know who first started running with this idea. I don't know where this information came from. They knew each other. There's a conflict of interest. That's why it was an all-white jury. I don't know. You're in Texas, for God's sakes. It was probably a predominantly white area. I mean, maybe it was. I also heard, and take this with a grain of salt, that there was an original jury that possibly had said, would they be biased in the situation? And they said that they were. Like, you don't know what to believe. There's so much bullshit that's been spewed in this situation. The short of it is, Carmelo Anthony met a shove with a stab in the chest.
Right.
And in terms of self-defense and stand your ground, that don't reciprocate. That don't fly. Just because you got shoved or pushed. It was 3 of them. I heard that. Was that true? Was Carmelo Anthony getting jumped in the tent? It's a really sad situation. It's screwed up. And now it's this whole racist situation. Every black hates all the whites. You got freaking Charleston White, who's bitch ass. I hate that dude. I hate him, man. I used to think he was okay. But I just don't mess with the dude because he's a flip-flopping kind of a person, an antagonizer. In the very beginning of the Austin Metcalf, Carmelo Anthony saga, when this story first broke, Charleston White was team Austin Metcalf, talking about how Carmelo Anthony was going to get smoked and all that good shit.
Was. Black people got a heart of retribution and vengeance and violence and anger. They want to get back at white people. No wonder Dr. Kingdom could get some things and we can't. Because Dr. Kingdom said, hey, man, don't hit them back. Hey, man, don't hit them back. And them people got way more. Now, this group say, let's kill them. Let's kill them. But your kids, you hear about kids every day in the hood schools getting bullied, but y'all don't have this much outrage for bullying. They have a no bullying month, but y'all don't have this much outrage. But now all of a sudden, it's out, let's kill the bully. Most of y'all are bullies. Talk to them today. Most of y'all are, come on, cuz, OG, bullies. Come on, Crip Blood bullies.
Well, then he jumped ship. He probably got paid some money from the family, and then he was all about Carmelo Anthony.
You sure was.
Twin brother. So you can't just fight one. You have to fight 2. But that's why this is a package deal. So 2 men approach you, bigger than size. You mean to tell me you don't have the right to defend yourself? Another lie that they said. He brought the knife to school. He didn't have a knife. He had a Boy Scouts aid tool. Well, what's on that tool? They have 12 different components. You lift this one up, it may be a bottle opener.
That was not
you
it.
Lift this one up, it may be a screwdriver.
The rumor, the lies he told.
They're smaller than 3 inches. It was so small, you don't even see it when they take the picture next.
And so after he's found guilty, now it's because it was an all-white jury and they racist down there. And then you've got the family advocate, who is, I believe, some form of a public defender. See, there's a lot of information that's been incorrect. Carmelo Anthony's family raised almost $700,000 for a defense, or for, to help their family through this situation. They bought a house, or, there was this lavish house. I don't know if they bought it or they rented it. There were cars. Well, people said they spent all the money and they never retained legal counsel for Carmelo Anthony. I asked ChatGPT, who I like to believe will scour the internet and pull all the facts that are true. ChatGPT, I said, did Carmelo Anthony have a court-appointed lawyer? Was that joker who came on the scene after the verdict and started speaking like freaking Martin Luther King out there? Why do people start talking crazy? Like start talking like they're freaking Malcolm X? When the shit goes sideways.
But what this process did is shown that black lives do not matter in Collin County. This trial showed that it put emotions over the law. After Trayvon Martin and so many countless names, it has shown us that black life is not safe in Collin County.
I don't know what you expected. I don't know how in your right mind, how do you expect that this defense is going to fly? The only way that this could possibly fly is to win in the court of public opinion. And then that somehow impacts the jury. But I want to share with you what I asked ChatGPT about this Carmelo Anthony situation, especially about the lawyer. I said, who was Carmelo Anthony's lawyer? Was he really a public defender? No, Carmelo Anthony was not represented by a public defender. His lead attorney was Mike Howard, a private criminal defense lawyer based in the Dallas area. Anthony's defense team also included experienced defense attorney Toby Shook. Court reports and jury selection coverage identified Howard and Shook as members of Anthony's defense team. There appears to be some confusion because some social media posts and commenters referred to a public defense lawyer when discussing the case. In those instances, they were often talking about an outside legal analyst commenting on the trial, not Anthony's actual attorney. So the family spokes guy.
So I think, real quick, because I'm going to let him keep cooking. But I think this is one of the problems because the trial wasn't streamed. There were just too many inconsistencies. There was too many, again, false narratives put out there. And we've even heard people run out there and get in front of the camera saying they saw the video of Carmelo getting jumped by 4 guys, but they didn't show that in court allegedly. So these stories are the things that are going to completely ruin the narrative. And we'll get to a point where none of it actually makes sense. Because sad to say, after prison, he's mentioned several rumors that are coming around that don't make any sense. But let's keep it going. Let's go.
After the trial, gets out and starts talking like Martin Luther King mixed with Malcolm X. It was an all-white jury. This black boy didn't stand a chance out there. Dog, you're an idiot for saying something like that because the defense team also helps to pool your jury. The defense and the prosecution got to agree on each individual juror. So I don't know how you ended up with an all-white jury. Maybe that was all they had there. Maybe it was an all-white area. I don't know. It certainly seemed like the deck was stacked against you if you look at it from, just an optics situation. And people hate the judge in this situation too. And of course, because I can't follow the trial because it's not televised and all we're hearing is 2 different sides commenting on how the day went. And it's crazy because at the end of each day, you would have 2 conflicting reports. It's over. Carmelo Anthony's going to beat this whole situation. Even Charleston White's bitch ass during the trial said that he had $50,000 he was willing to wager that Carmelo Anthony was going to beat all charges. What happened to that? I bet you deleted that post. So the fact of the matter remains is this. Everybody got so lost on this. Hey, man, you can't go putting your hands on nobody. Okay, you're going to F around and find out. That's what happened to Austin Metcalf. So people are saying, well, unfortunately, it appears that Carmelo Anthony has found out. Because though it may seem like logic, like sound logic, okay, if somebody pushes you and you feel threatened and intimidated, stab them. There was a black woman who was being interviewed after, and she was being put on a freaking absolute dog and pony show type of a spectacle. She was a mother of 5 children. This black woman was. And she said, what am I supposed to teach my children now?
Don't touch anybody.
I mean, this shit was just
Don't
so
stab
out
nobody.
of sorts. Everybody
It's really
got
easy.
lost in this because of the racial undertone. And it's a sad situation. And, you know, I truly believe that Carmelo Anthony came from a good family. He had a mother and father in his life. They was in a prominent, well-to-do area, it seems like. Mom and dad were probably, you know, successful people, tried to raise Carmelo Anthony the right way. But it's a scary situation raising children because you could try so damn hard to get it right. But once the world gets a hold of them, you ain't got no more bearing on them. I don't think his parents taught him that if somebody put their hands on you, kill that son of a bitch.
Ooh,
I don't think they taught him that. I think they tried to raise them up right. It's a sad situation for those parents. I truly feel sick for Carmelo Anthony's family, for his parents. But, you know, there's a whole nother victim in this situation, the actual victim.
Right.
Which is the Metcalf family, who they was just dragged through the mud in this. Unfortunate. So what's Carmelo Anthony going to be like in prison, man? Buddy just got him a fresh 35 piece. He ain't even served a day in jail yet. Well, I mean, now he has. I can tell you what he's doing right now, sitting there butt ball naked. He's in the freaking the suicide watch. You better bet that he is. And it's not because they think, well, that's just standard protocol. You get sentenced to life, you're immediately going there. And you're high profile. They got to keep you as secure as possible. You got to be in the 24-hour surveillance cell. You know, when I woke up this morning, let me rewind that real quick. I woke up in the middle of the night and I jumped on Facebook. And that was the first thing that I saw was that Carmelo Anthony was sentenced to 35 years. And I thought that was kind of strange, you know, that he was sentenced and found guilty in the same day, but I can't answer why that happened. Some places do it like that. Maybe in a high profile case, you want to hurry up and get that shit over. Like, I don't know. I was of the belief that you have a sentencing date and a trial date, and those are two separate things.
I'm glad they got it over with.
So I don't know.
No,
but
I'm
I
right
woke
there
up
with
to the
you.
news of Carmelo Anthony receiving 35 years, and I was like, wow, that's crazy. Because they could have gave him 99. So the fact that they gave him 35 years, but he's still got a shot at life if he survives this prison bid. You got to think about this. Banky, Jew Man, Darnell Phillips, Danny, they all did those type of numbers. Carmelo Anthony probably going to come home as deranged in the mind as Danny was. But look at Banky. Banky did 30 years. He came home. He was just fine in his 50s. In better shape than me, Jew Man, Darnell Phillips. They all living prosperous, wonderful lives now. I think they are. I think Jew Man is. He ain't nothing but 19 years old. And people are like, oh shit, he's only going to do a third of that time. He's only going to do half of that. I don't know what you do in Texas as a violent offender. I don't know what their parole situation is. I'm going to just say, if it's anything like Virginia, he'll do 85% of his time, 85% of 35 years. If he does not run his time up, you do 85% of 35 years. That's probably like what, like 27, 28? Shit, he'll be home. Prison going to preserve him. He's going to stay young. He's going to be full up on commissary, too. You remember that GoFundMe that they had? They were trying to raise over $1 million, 1 point something million dollars. The thing died out right underneath of 700,000. Imagine the renewed energy on that now. His books are going to be flooded. He's going to have plenty of visits, plenty of family support. His family freaking loves him. And, you know, rightfully so. He comes from a good family. You know, his time in prison could essentially be like Mackenzie Sharilla's time in prison. She living high on the hog. She damn near got a reality show from prison, as much as they keep putting her phone calls out. Like, she's a celebrity. So his time, it ain't going to be bad. Is he going to have problems with gangs when he gets where he's going? Is somebody going to try to, you know, get some rank off of Carmelo Anthony? I don't really see it like that. He's probably going to be welcomed into an organization. He'll probably, you know, get some teardrops. I don't think he's going to have the type of problems like, you know, somebody going in there with the bad charge. But he got a murder charge. You know what? In prison, that might actually be respected. Okay, buddy, hey, he nice with the knife. He liked that knife play. They might even give him a prison nickname. Lil Knife Work, Lil Pistol Starter. Hey, Lil Poke something up. Oh, K-pop is. K-pop bought that shit. Don't let him get a phone in there. Shit, that TikTok gonna be jumping. He could go up in there and better himself. It'll be hard to do. He'll be going to some high-level institutions because he got a murder charge.
Right.
He'd go in there and better himself. Maybe becomes a Muslim. I did see mention of after the verdict was read or the sentencing was read that Carmelo Anthony was inconsolable, and his defense team asked for a moment where we could take him off to a back room and let him gather himself. And allegedly the judge said,
No, sir.
the time for that is no more. Verdict's been rendered. Things move differently now. Wow. He's in custody of the sheriff's department or something like that. Look, yeah, he's going to be all to pieces. I remember getting 7 years and I felt like the world was over. My God, buddy got 3.5 decades. But let me tell you something. He going to find some OGs in there that going to be rocking with him. And he going to have some respect from the black community up in there. You killed a whitey. And I'm not trying to make it a racist situation, but, you know, getting to prison, obviously, and not just prison, the whole world. Everything is racially motivated. There's going to be people in there that respect the shit out of that. And there'll be those that don't like that. But is he going to be enough to set off a freaking gang, like, you know, an entire riot behind? I doubt it, because if you try to mess with them, there could be some repercussions coming behind that. Why did Carmelo Anthony not have, what's the high-paid civil rights lawyer? Black dude, gosh almighty, I can't think of his name.
Or there's a couple of them.
Crump. Why didn't he have Benjamin Crump?
That's a great question.
Dog, I mean, if it's that serious, if you've got people out in the frickin' outside the courtroom doing frickin' voodoo and witchcraft out there trying to, you know, hone in this frickin' innocence verdict, dog, why wasn't Benjamin Crump out there for you? You know why he wasn't out there? Because he might have known better. Look, not everything's a win. And hey, look, you got to read between the lines on this situation. You got pushed and you stabbed in retaliation. They ain't going for that. Like, my Facebook is just flooded with this shit. To all you racist white boys on here talking shit, just know in the great state of Texas prison system, we call TDCJ, y'all don't have shit. Sit on the floor and you bet not touch no TV. Getting all your shit took. Might get your ass took since y'all so tough. Don't forget. That's actually a diabolical take right there. And I don't know. Maybe the blacks do run shit down in Texas. I don't know. Somebody's got to run it. It could be the Spanish folks. That's who I would think would be running shit down in Texas. I did hear at one point that the Aryans were pretty deep down there. And it would be ironic to me if this person's hot take on the subject was totally wrong. To all you racist white boys on here talking shit, just know in the great state of Texas, y'all don't have shit. Sit on the floor and bet you don't touch no TV. Who's running shit down in Texas? Does anybody know? Oh, there he is right there. Yeah, that's the guy. I remember that because I talked about this story before, right? That's the defense lawyer. Oh, we hate him now.
Wait, where's...
He's a white guy. We can't stand him. What's this woman talking about? Meet Mike Howard, Carmelo Anthony's lead defense attorney, the attorney who didn't force Hunter Metcalf to testify, the attorney who allowed an all-white jury, the attorney who convinced Carmelo not to speak on his own behalf while Kyle Rittenhouse took the stand in his own defense. That's a logical point. The attorney who allowed the father of the deceased and his friends to help prosecute his client, and now Carmelo Anthony has been sentenced to 35 years in prison. I'm going to say what many people are thinking. They trusted this man with their son's life. This wasn't a traffic ticket. This wasn't a misdemeanor. This was a murder case where a young man's entire future was on the line. Again, how do you defend a situation where you got pushed and you stabbed in response? If this guy allowed an all-white jury, yeah, okay. How much y'all pay this man? The man's wearing a pink suit, for God's sakes.
They did that.
He looks like he can't be trusted. Y'all thought that they was going after the black lawyer who represented Rick Chow down in South Carolina? This guy and that guy are going to have to run away together and elope down in some place where they can't find you at. There are countless black attorneys across the country who would have handled the high-profile cases, challenged jury selection, and fought aggressively for their clients. We were just talking about Benjamin Crump and others who certainly didn't step up to the plate in this situation. And, you know, Benjamin Crump is there every time. Hey, every time there is a definitive reason to be there. Like, okay, we know that this is a wrong situation. We're going to be here. They weren't there for Carmelo Anthony, though, or that man wasn't there for Carmelo Anthony. Sometimes the biggest gamble isn't made in the courtroom. It's deciding who gets to stand beside you in it. Man, y'all went with a white folks, but hey, let that man would have beat that case. You know, I thought that there were some anomalies with the Carmelo Anthony trial, aside from the all-white jury. But I remember that after the state rested, and then it was on to the defense to put on their case, the state rested pretty quickly. And the defense seemed to rest pretty quickly as well, too. It was within a day or two that the defense rested. And I thought that was strange for such a high-profile case. And then I was thinking, okay, well, maybe it's strategic. Yo, it's open and shut. Our defense is open and shut. Carmelo Anthony said, you're going to F around and find out. Put your hands on me. Allegedly, he dared Austin Metcalf to put his hands on. I bet you won't put your hands on me. Okay, that makes it even more, I guess. You antagonized. Guess who else antagonized? Chud the Builder did. And watch what's about to happen to that whitey. Oh, my God. But
I want to just bring that in. And I wonder what he thinks about the fact that they did not assert any self-defense claims. They brought forth no self-defense ideas. They just said it, but they didn't actually show it. They didn't give any examples. And they, goodness gracious, they didn't put Carmelo on the stand. Just something to think about.
All-white jury, boy, they about to smoke his freaking boots. Chud got to get it at this point. You see, when Rick Chow got off, I was like, there might be a possibility Carmelo Anthony gets off. It's almost like when you have a lawyer and a prosecutor who are in cahoots together. Now, this is totally far-fetched, this theory that I'm posing, but like, hey, look, you remember that favor you did for me where we threw out that one case? You owe me. I'll buy lunch today, okay? Let's X-nay on the conviction A here. When the defense rested in the Carmelo Anthony case as quickly as they did, I was like, well, maybe it's a strategic move. Look, we don't got to prove nothing else. The man pushed my client. My client felt threatened. He met said threat with deadly force. You can't do that. Did Austin Metcalf have a gun? He did not. Did Austin Metcalf say he was going to kill you? He did not. Your Honor, we rest our case. And then you can ask Carmelo Anthony, did you feel like your life was in imminent danger? Yes. Carmelo Anthony didn't get on the stand.
Right.
Would it have been beneficial had he done so? He should have got on the stand and pulled the Kyle Rittenhouse. He should have pulled the Kyle Rittenhouse.
He should have.
Dog, if you don't got a Kyle Rittenhouse defense and if you don't got that, you don't got nothing. And you wonder why Kyle Rittenhouse beat that charge. Because he had a bitch damn near looked like Blind Fury on the stick. You know what? I actually agree with that Facebook post that we just read right there. You ain't even let the man look. We don't need to prove nothing else. If Carmelo Anthony would have gotten on that stand and pulled that Kyle Rittenhouse tears and freaking look, we're scared, like we're throwing ourselves on the mercy of the courts here, would that have played to his benefit? We'll never know because that never happened.
I think it would have definitely shown. Shout out to.
I tried to tell you last year, buddy. We're going.
Shout out to Beyond or After Prison Podcast. I do think that if Carmelo Anthony had gotten on the stand, they would at least been able to try to make the case for self-defense, at least. Now, I don't think it would have lasted well with cross-examination. I do think that they would have messed up there. But at least would put it out there, the self-defense claim. Because at the moment, they didn't give you anything that even matched with self-defense. The video showed that he wasn't attacked. The witnesses said he wasn't attacked. Their witnesses, Carmelo's witnesses said he wasn't attacked. It was bad business. So him getting on the stand, I think would have been the best thing. Let me know what y'all think. All right, we're just gonna keep checking out when we find somebody who talks about it that has some good insight. We're gonna bring them back in. Let me know what y'all thought about our After Prison podcast. I'm gonna leave the link to this video down in the description as well as a pinned comment. Please go support that brother. He does some excellent work, has some great mind. I won't say legal mind. He has a great mind, and I love y'all support him. So thank y'all so much for rocking with us. We'll do this again real soon. Until then, grace and peace. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the JWhit Podcast. If you enjoyed today's show, please do me a favor and hit me up with that 3-piece special. Like the video, subscribe, and of course, share it with somebody who would also enjoy this type of content. And make sure you leave a comment because I do pin the best comments to the top. So thank you so much for tuning in today. And until next time, everybody, grace and peace.